Welcome to Seventh Son Entertainment, where dreams come to life. We are a premier, full-service entertainment company dedicated to taking your project to the next level. With our tailored video packages, we can meet your unique needs and exceed your expectations. Are you looking for an entry-level package? Our bronze video package starts at just $100. It includes 4K and 1080p resolution, with the option to add titles and editing at an additional $20 Zers per hour for a step up. Our silver video package is perfect, starting at $300. It offers the same resolution options and allows you to add transitions and basic plugins for just $20 Zers per hour. If you're looking for something even more extraordinary, our gold video package is the way to go. Starting at $650, it includes advanced plugins and 5K rendering for those high-quality productions. The additional cost for advanced plugins and rendering is $20 per hour. For the ultimate video experience, our Platinum Video Package has it all. Starting at $950, you'll get mastered video audio with filters, plugins, transitions, and edits. And yes, it's all included for just an additional $20 per hour. Looking to capture breathtaking aerial footage? Our Sky Package features 3 minutes of aerial video for a price of $350 Zauer. But that's not all. We also offer camera and film production options with various resolution choices such as 1080p, 4K, 5, 3K, and 6K. And don't worry about post-mastering, it's included. Experience the magic of Seventh Son Entertainment and unleash your greatness. Book your package today and let us bring your dreams to life. Seventh Son Entertainment, your greatness awaits.
Hello. Welcome everybody to the Gag-Order. We are so glad to have you with us. Tonight we are going to touch on some real stuff. We're going to call tonight Unfiltered. And we are embracing the imperfections in this filtered world. We all know we could take it on so many different levels, but tonight I want to know, ladies, first and foremost, how are you all?
Excellent.
Everybody doing good?
I'm fine. I'm great.
Good. Well, actually, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, and then we'll get into a little bit deeper.
Which
Elisha?
one? My name is Elisha. I am on all platforms. You could just search my name, Elisha Allee, and I have a Trinidad flag on there. That's how you know that's me.
All right. And Miss Maie-Jean, where can we find you?
You can find me on pretty much all social media platforms as well, either under my name, Maie-Jean Duma, or under Maiden, spelt like my name, Maiden. So,
All right. Check us out. So yeah, ladies, let's talk about this filtered world we live in, and how do we embrace the imperfections in ourselves and others? So I first and foremost want to know, how would you, Maie-Jean, define the concept of embracing imperfections in this world? Hey, Miss Keya, so glad to see you.
well, I think that at this point in time, we really don't embrace any imperfections. Well, except for the weight, right? Because we all grew up in what my daughter calls the diet era, where people were forced to be extremely thin. So that is nice that there's more of a body positive movement. But other than that, we have Botox, we have fillers. Um, there's no more aging really. Like there's so many things that you can do to change your appearance, or even with Snapchat, all the different filters. There's some apps now where you could actually even change your body type, I guess, make your waist smaller. Like it's crazy. You can make yourself a whole different person. And I think that we used to tease my niece and say to her all the time, if you went missing, what picture would we put on the milk carton, right? Because none of them look like
Mhm.
you. So I think it's a fine line between, being your best self in your eyes, right? Because that's why people are doing it, so that they feel the most confident about themselves, and being able to embrace the things that actually make you yourself. Because if you don't look anything like yourself, are you really yourself at that point? I never realized what a real thing that was until I started meeting people from at work online, in person. And I was like, oh my God, I would have never known who they were. And I was thinking to myself, how do you do that in terms of like if you were dating or if you're meeting different people? How do you not look anything like yourself? It just seemed like such a strange concept to me, but
Mm.
it's really where we're going. So
I get that. I mean, society and in this world can change how we are, how we appear, but they cannot change. They may have effect on us, but they cannot change us, like who we are and how we are. We have the ability to show the world our characteristics and our personality through being real. And
and it
it's
goes back
hard.
to self
It's so
love.
hard.
Well, because it goes back to your self love, right? If you have to change yourself so drastically, where is your self love? And sometimes you have to realize that things are beyond looks. So if you're that fixated on your external self, your internal self suffers.
True.
And that's in all different ways.
Absolutely. So definitely social media has made filtering the norm. It's beyond, I don't even know the words for it. Like it literally has become our second nature to be fake, to present something fake. And it's hard to have deep and meaningful relationships when people are on that level. Um, Miss Elisha, I'm gonna throw you a little curveball, my dear. Could you please share me an experience where you felt pressured to present a filtered version of yourself?
You mean like the filters I put on my TikTok?
I mean, if you felt pressured to do that, then let's
No, it's
talk
not.
about
I don't feel pressure to do that. No, I do that because of my own personal things. I guess because I'm getting older, I do that. But your question is, share an
it. More,
experience that I felt pressured.
yeah.
Ooh,
If you ever had one, and
I
how
don't
did you
think I've
react?
I don't think I've been pressured to. Okay, explain exactly what you mean. A present
I mean, I'm not even saying like
physical.
visually. I'm not saying physical. I mean, in any way. If you've ever felt like you were pressured to filter or alter yourself
Oh, you
for
mean
what?
like that? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah. Well, I used to model, and I guess this might be one. I was I'm not gonna say forced. I was talked out of not modeling anymore, and that really changed me my whole life actually because the person who did not want me to be around the photographers, the people, get all their attention because I used to get a lot of attention with it. So being a model to them was a problem because here I am being all glammed up, and being in a certain different type of way. It made them feel some type of way. So I had to change that whole aspect of my life, and that's something in my life I stopped because of somebody. If that, so I guess did I answer it correctly?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there is no perfect answer, honey. It's your experience. So that makes perfect sense. And I'm sorry that, you know, you weren't able to pursue something that you may have wanted to pursue and that you gave it up for whatever reasons. Um, but I think to an extent I think we all have had some type of situation where we felt like we had to change ourselves, or whether it be our appearance, our attitude. I know that there's a lot of people that are pridefully themselves and don't ever feel like they have to change for anybody in any way. But I think on some small level, we all do it. We all filter ourselves, whether it be emotionally, physically, whatever. Because again, as we were talking about with Maie-Jean, it's literally become the norm. And there's a hard it's hard to be real in this fake ass world. It's difficult. A lot of people don't respect it. A lot of people don't understand it. A lot of people have it's hard to accept. I know myself, when I do come across real people, it's difficult to accept. Like, is this real? Is this a joke? Like Ashton Kutcher about to jump out of somewhere? Like, what's really going on? But social media has definitely made it more difficult, and I want to know, Miss Elisha, what does it mean to be authentic in this world that often values perfection over realness?
I think being real and is diminishing, and I think fake people is becoming a norm. Like I think, like what Jinx was saying. I mean, Maie-Jean was saying. To me now, it's getting to the point where I'm a very real as I can be person, optimistic, trying to be positive as I can. However, to answer that question, I am not. I am losing my authenticity of being
Mm,
real because the fakeness is becoming more of acceptance for people than to have someone real beside you, especially when you're doing so much for people and you're trying to show them that, and the realness is just being taken for advantage, or they're just not thinking that you're something real. So that authenticness for me is like, I feel like I'm losing it a little because it's like, dang, y'all rather have a fake person in front of you than somebody that will hold you down and be real and be right there for you. So it's like that's how I feel about it at this point.
you can't lose that authenticity though. You got to embrace it no matter what. If nobody else in the world embrace it, you got to embrace that on your own. You got to, because it's that's how you gonna always be able to truly tell when others are being authentic with you, because you gonna have that deep authenticity in yourself. Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
Miss
definitely,
Keya, I ain't hearing much from you tonight, so I'm going to have to ask you to please share a time with me when you felt empowered by being unapologetically yourself. And how has that made impacts on your relationships and self esteem?
Where we going at? Let's see. Okay, so like I worked at a nursing home, and like everybody was like so uptight and like real proper. And like from the time that I walked in the door, I instantly felt out of place. So like I felt like I had to change the way I talked. I had to like, sit up properly and like, no slouching, and couldn't say this word and couldn't say that word. And then like I don't know. It was real bad. Like I really tried so hard that in the mix of me trying to like continue a proper sentence, like the realest part of me came out when like this one question got asked in the middle of something that I was saying. So like I just I don't know. Like one minute I was cool on a proper top tier everything, and then I went real gangster, real hood out of nowhere. Like it's either you want an honest answer or you don't want the answer at all. But now it's like I guess you can say I'm better at the way I come across now. So it's not as hard and it's like, tough, like, oh, if you want to fight, we can fight. Like now I have like a little gentler side to it, so I know how to be like, I guess, smoother, or like, more slowly without less attitude, I guess you could say. But
use
I
your
feel like,
Okay.
customer service voice, as they say.
oh yeah, I go into a service voice real quick.
I get that. I used to have my customer service voice, and I knew when to turn it on and turn it off, and it's hard sometimes, but there's a difference between being yourself and being professional when you're at your job. You always gotta, try and maintain that level of professionalism. And sometimes it feels like you're being fake and you're not being yourself. But at the same time, that's the best self you could be in that moment to make sure you keep getting yourself a paycheck.
Yeah,
Maie-Jean, did
like,
I
and I thought
miss?
that it was fun.
I'm sorry,
People only want to deal
Oh,
with your best self.
I can't hear you, honey.
I said people only want to deal with your best self, right? So when you're at work, people don't really care about your emotional well-being. They only want the good side of you. So it's not that you're being fake. You're just giving 110%, right? And that's why people get disappointed in life because a lot of times they expect 110% from people who could really only do 20 or 30. And
Yeah.
that's what makes it hard. So you have to be able to determine how much you're able to give. Like I know for myself, I can't work with people. I am not a good people person. I have a very hard time playing with others. I need to work by myself. I like to work fast and efficient and do my own thing, and I could never do customer service. So you have to know your weaknesses, you have to know your strengths, and then you have to find something that is profitable for you to do within that range, right? But
Hmm.
again, even in my job, people only want you at 110%. So you have to find something that you're capable of doing that at. And that's not being fake, that's just presenting your best. It's like they say, putting your best foot forward, right? Because
Absolutely.
people there are not invested in you emotionally. So they don't really care about your well being. They just want you to perform your job.
Facts. Definitely. Definitely. Um, so Keya, back to your situation there. Can you think of something a little more on the flip side, like when you were you and didn't even care, like I'm me and y'all just gonna eat that and it is what it is, and can you think of moments like that where you were true to yourself and very authentic? I can't hear you.
so I can say my vacation time. Because normally it's my vacation times where you get the realest real out of me that there is. Like you just, it's no filter. It's the raw, uncut. It. I don't even want a camera crew to follow me around for a day. Like it would be endless laughing. Like it's like, is she serious? Like I can't tell if she's serious or if she's joking. But like my vacation time, like when I go to the islands, they think I live there. They think I belong there. So I feel like I'm right at home when I get there. From the time I get off that plane, it's like, I'm home. Like I be so into it. I'm like, oh yeah. It's like this is my family, and I don't even know their names.
Because you're comfortable. You got comfortable. It's a
Yeah.
comfortability you got.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Whenever you're anywhere where you can be yourself, that's comfortable. Absolutely. Nobody wants to be somewhere where they can't feel themselves. Like that's never the optimal situation. You always want to be in your comfort zone, whether it be at home or out and about wherever you are. Like, and I think that part of like embracing your authenticity is that's how that comes. Like when you constantly are like true to yourself on a regular basis, more and more that comes, that comfort, no matter where you are, no matter who you're around. You gain a certain, I don't want to say confidence, but at the same time, the more you're aware of yourself and you embrace everything, like imperfections and whatever it is, like you become it almost makes you more whole. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Yeah.
Yeah, it
Yeah, it
makes
makes
sense.
All
It,
right.
it's just it just makes it more easier to be yourself. But sometimes now, I mean, okay, because I'm really was born in Trinidad, so I know the difference you're trying to say, and that's how I said Keya felt comfortable. It's like you could be yourself in a place where it makes you feel like you could be yourself. To me, here you have to put on this whole persona with people because you either going to be judged or you being criticized or you being something just because you're being yourself. And I don't think that's really cool. And that's what I deal with all the time. It's like people can't adjust to my bubbly spirit and my spirit is outgoing and things like that. But when I get around my Caribbean people, I'm like, oh my God, I'm me. I'm here. This is who I am. And I'm comfortable. You know what I'm saying? Without any judgment. So it's like when I'm here, it's different. It's just a different vibe. That's I just feel cured. That's all I meant to say.
Nah, I get that. I get that. No matter what, like, it's home too. It's also a feeling of home, you know? Absolutely. What was it I wanted to ask Miss Maie-Jean? How do you think that embracing imperfections can lead to a deeper sense of self acceptance and confidence?
Well, I think that the problem is at some point you can't escape aging. And even younger people at certain points, if you develop an illness or other things happen to you. One of my favorite stories is the lady on TikTok that does the makeover of herself. She has no teeth. Have you seen her? Very,
Mm-mm.
very pretty lady. But long story short, she does these TikToks where she shows herself essentially looking like a crack addict and then she makes herself beautiful. She puts in like dentures, whatever. So everyone in the comments is like, oh, you're a drug addict, you're this, you're that. So one day she actually tells her story, and it turns out that she had a rare condition while she was having her children where the children actually absorb all of the calcium from you, and she wound
Bones.
up losing all of her teeth. And she was in her 20s. So at that point, if you're only based in your looks, then we would accept the man abandoning her, even though she had no fault in what happened to her. And then at that point, is that love? So if all you're basing your self worth on is your external appearance, it's not going to last very long. And I don't care if you're the most beautiful woman in the world, I don't care if you're the handsomest guy I've ever seen, looks go at some point, whether it is due to illness, you get in a car accident. I mean, who knows? There's
Yeah.
a number of things that could damage your looks. I tell the same people same thing about addiction. I never say anything about addicts because you could get cancer, and they could give you medicine while you're having treatment for cancer, and you could become an addict. Those are things in life that you really don't have any control over. And what people fail to realize is we really don't have very much control. People have this grand illusion that they have all this control over their life. And in some ways you do, but in a lot of ways you don't. At the end of the day, you could walk out your front door and be hit by a plane. You don't know. You could be in a car accident. You could get shot at a grocery store. We take all of those things for granted because our ego tells us those things are not going to happen if we're doing certain things, which of course is an illusion. So, again, you have to understand that there's only certain things that we can control and only certain things that we can do. So at the end of the day, if that's what you're basing your self-worth on, you're always going to be disappointed because it never lasts long,
Absolutely. I agree
you know.
wholeheartedly.
That's and that, and that's where, I think that this generation falls short with not having more intimate connections, because once those things are gone, how else are you connecting to a person? If the only reason why you like them is superficial, how far can you really get in that relationship? What kind of bond are you building? Where's your intimacy at that point? And then if that's the case, the minute something happens, you give your partner the green flag to just go. So if all my I'm worth to you is my appearance, and then I get breast cancer, by that logic, I should say to you, okay, well, you can go now because I'm not going to be pretty anymore. And who's realistically going to say that? You don't want that. You want your partner to nurture you and stay with you and care for you and help you through whatever emotional or mental trauma is occurring for you at the time. And that has very little to do with external appearance. So I think it's sad that we looked to technology and online and things that are not real to fill voids in ourselves that used to be filled by intimate connections with another person. And that's why our grandparents stood together until they were 1,000 years old. And trust me, I'm not saying all of those relationships were healthy either, because we all know men, beat women, cheated, women did the same thing. We could go back and forth on all the different scenarios. But as a whole, at the end of the day, you knew you could rely on your family. And that's why I feel sometimes that children do better in homes, because you know what to expect. We're creatures of habit. We want to know what the outcome's going to be. Very rarely do humans do things that they don't feel that they know the outcome of, right?
True.
So it's the same thing in relationships. You want to be able to project the fact that this person is going to be there for you, project the fact that they could care for you. And that's where a lot of men and women in this particular day and age wind up breaking up when they have children. Because as a woman, even though I already know the relationship is not there, I expect the man, the minute I become pregnant, to become this superior man. When the reality is, when I met him, he's got 9 kids and works at Taco Bell, right? And so then it's like you're almost hurting your own feelings at that point.
Yeah, pretty much.
So I don't know. I feel like our society needs to get back to having to giving less of ourselves to the government and therapists and all that stuff, and more into investing into our intimate connections and our intimate relationships. Because at the end of the day, your therapist is not going to come sit with you while you're dying of cancer. Your
Yeah,
best friend is.
absolutely.
Why would you allow yourself to get pregnant? Oh, that's hysterical. That is so rich. I love when men say things like that. Yeah, you're right. You know what? I lay in bed before we have sex, and I'm like, I am manifesting pregnancy upon myself. Like, get the entire fuck out of here. What are you even talking about? If a dude comes in you, you get pregnant. And how many men don't give an entire fuck and will come in anything that is a wormhole? So let's not talk about why I would allow myself to get pregnant, okay? Settle down with that, brother.
Well, with that being said, yeah. So in just a few short minutes, we're gonna do our randoms. But before we do that, I want to give a special shout out to our producer and production extraordinaire, Allee from Seventh Sun Entertainment. He is doing big things, and we all just want to say we are super proud of you, and proud to be a part of everything going on. So, with that being said, we are going to go to a short story.
It's a bright end of summer day at 1:50 p.m. A 24-year-old young man is outside, trying to make some money by selling weed and crack. Two guys, acquaintances, approach him and quickly shake, hands in greeting. They all share a blunt in friendship before two of them leave, while the third continues, hustling to provide for himself. After 40 minutes, the two guys return in an angered state. They complain about being threatened, assaulted, and robbed. They rant angrily, discussing the idea of getting a gun. I understood that they came to me because they knew I already had one, but since I didn't give mine up, promises were made to return, and for me to go with them. I complied and the two left, only to return about 6 hours later. We arrived at the house of the accused, but something felt off. Talks of betrayal and setups filled the air. As I sat and listened, I realized that this was the accused middleman. The accused denied all accusations, but as the conversation intensified, I noticed one of the people I came with start quickly, pulling out his pistol. He pointed it at the man and then quickly turned the gun towards the bed, a move meant to frighten the man into speaking. The man jumped every time the gun was quickly pointed at his chest. This torturous game continued for 8 rounds, becoming more and more intense. I remember by the third round, the voice became lustful, dripping like salivation from the lips. The seventh round was particularly unsettling, as the conversation turned bloodlust and vengeful. But it was the eighth round that turned disastrous. The sound became mute, and all I remember is the bang, the flash, as the point-blank blast took its toll. A few moments passed, and sound returned only to hear a man holding his chest crying out, "You shot me! You shot me!" His breathing began to slow, and he pleaded, "Oh God!" Another blast went off. Suddenly, I woke up lying on my bed in a studio apartment, with lights outside going crazy. After a period of slumber, I got up to check the mailbox, only to realize I was being watched. While retrieving the mail, I was stopped and asked questions. Luckily, my accent allowed me to escape probable cause. In this story, all the participants were good people, caught up in a societal disease we all live in. These are the stories of a young man who had to survive in a world where nothing can be predicted and situations change in an instant. These stories vividly depict how life can go wrong due to the decisions we make. The same person in this story has become a strong part of society, earning 2 degrees as an entrepreneur. He now fights on a daily basis to help others avoid making bad decisions for themselves while keeping himself away from these dangerous situations. It's time to wake up and change this world by changing ourselves.
That's a fact. That's a fact. All right. So I believe we've got our randoms coming up. And our category this week is, see, y'all can't see the screen, that's screen. Men want to know. So men want to know, what is something that us women do in relationships that bothers or confuses men? I first and foremost want to go on record saying that I do my best not to bother or confuse them. But I think that if we really stop and think about it, there's got to be something that we know that we do that bothers them. Miss Keya, you got something?
So I'm big on faces. If my mouth don't say it, somewhere along my face, if not the whole face, gonna say it. It's not about my body language. It's not the body posture. It is strictly my faces. You say something that I don't agree with, I'm gonna make a face. You say something that I kind of sort of agree with, don't like, I'm gonna make a face. You can say something I wholeheartedly love, and I'm still gonna make a face.
I guess so. You easy to read, and you think that bothers people or confuses them?
Oh yeah, do both. Cause you never know if I'm serious. And then it's more so of a like, well, why is she acting like, well, wait, let me just rethink this whole thing through because she made that real bad that real bad face. And then it's like, it'd be sketchy sometimes. Like you
Okay.
never know
Okay.
when I'm gonna switch. Like one
I got
minute
a
I'm
good
gonna be
one.
fine, then I'm gonna be off.
All right. Maie-Jean, how about you?
I got a good one. I think one thing that we as women do that confuses men is that when we get into relationships with them, regardless of how big of losers they are or what they fail to do, we encourage them and try to make things whatever, and we're extremely supportive. And then at some point, when we demand more from them, again, through pregnancy, different situations, then all of a sudden we're telling them they're losers and they don't mean anything and so on and so forth. And that confuses men because they're like, well, wait a minute, I thought you believed in me and now you're calling me a loser, or you knew I didn't work, or you knew I had anxiety, or whatever other BS they want to say, whatever. And it is our fault because you can't expect someone, again, to perform at 110% all the time. So if you're going into something knowing that this is this person's baseline, it's actually, you romanticizing their abilities. And it's not fair to them when you then turn on them. If you meet a man who hasn't had a steady job in 10 years and then you're mad because he can't hold a job, that confuses him, because when you met, he told you he hadn't had a job for the last 10 years and you were okay with that. And now suddenly you're not.
True, true.
So I think things like that make you confuse men.
All right, Miss Elisha. I know you was trying to chime in. Go ahead, girl.
First of all, I gotta say, when we say some things, we have to really, really consider of saying some people, because not all people does these things. Not all
True.
people, not all women do what she just said. We don't down a, well, I know I don't do that. I would never down a guy and make him feel less than he is, because he's already going through enough as he is, just like I'm going through it. So my mentality is like, if I'm going to be with you, some of us is going to gradually do that. But for Maie-Jean, I'm sorry, Maie-Jean, I don't do none of those things to uh that at all. So I just wanted to make sure I say some women. I'm gonna
Just,
say some.
just you haven't, right, but you haven't been in that situation, which is okay, but you've also stated
What?
multiple
Wait,
times on
wait,
different
wait,
shows that
wait,
you have
wait.
no
Back it
boundaries.
up. Back it up.
And
What
that, hold
situation?
on, that you don't have any boundaries. You've said it on multiple shows now that you don't have any boundaries that you give to people regardless of how they treat you. So you're going the complete opposite way. Even when he's being negative, you will encourage him. So if that's, it's just another side of that coin.
No, 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 no.
It's
I
still
don't
confusing
encourage him to
because,
be negative. Hold on. No, no, no. Just because I don't have a certain amount
well,
of
if
boundaries
you're
does not mean
if you
I
don't set
encourage
any
them.
boundaries, yes, that is encouraging. Because if you don't correct the behavior and you don't address the boundary, then you are accepting and encouraging the behavior.
Okay, your point of this whole thing
That's
was
why
you
that's why you
said
get
no, no, no,
women
no,
who
no, no,
stay.
no, no, no. You said that we do this on
Right.
purpose if we could, and attack them. We don't do that. All women
I
don't do
said,
that. And don't
Jay,
say because I don't have a boundaries why I tolerate it. That's not what I said. I said some women don't do what
that is
you
what you
said
said,
they
but that's
do.
okay. Right. Well, she asked the question, what do women do? That's one thing that women do. Just because you specifically don't
You
do
have
it,
to
a
say
majority of
some. You
women do
have to
it.
say some. I'm sorry, I don't agree with that. You have
No,
to
I
say
don't have to
some.
say.
Yes, you do. You
I don't
can't
have to say
categorize
some.
every
I
woman
don't.
in this world
No, I
that
don't.
does what you said. I disagree
I
with that.
said women
I
in
gag it,
general.
right? Is that what y'all say on this thing? Gag, right? I gag that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, everybody entitled to their own opinion, and I think Maie-Jean was trying to express that sometimes women, eh, they set themselves up for failure and then blame the men.
100%.
I think that's
Okay,
And
essentially
understand and
what she was
respect
multiple
trying
it.
to
women do
say.
it.
Okay,
Okay.
understand and respect that. That's the main point that's trying to get across. But at the same time, you can't classify it as the whole
Yeah,
hundred
no, not
percent of
everybody. Some,
collective.
some,
That's what she's
absolutely.
trying to say.
That's just Maie-Jean's experience and her opinion on
And
the
I
question that
understand.
I
I
asked.
understand.
And
I
you are also correct that it's not
No,
all women
they
that are like that, just
my
like
you
it's not
asked
all
what
men
was
that are
one of
like
the
that.
things, right. And you asked what were some of the things women do. Those are some of the things women do. We already are saying what are some of the things. We don't have to say 10%. I mean,
Not
unless
all
we're going to get
women.
that
let
specific,
me
that we're
ask you
going to give
something. Hold on, hold
specific
on, hold on,
numbers.
Magie. Let me ask
We
you
can
something.
look
Why
up
are you getting
empirical
so mad?
data.
Why are you getting like that to the point where I say we all need to just say some?
No, you're the
Some
one
women.
getting upset because I say
No, I'm
some.
not. Because
Right.
we don't even need
You're
to go this
focusing on
far
one
if I
word
say
instead of
all
a
we
main
need to do is
point. You
address
are, because you
some
said it
women.
contradicts.
Yeah,
We just
all
need to
we
say
got,
some.
but at the same time, like, yes,
Why are you taking it personally? Jinx asked a question about what things do. You're
Because you
taking it
can't
personally.
categorize every
Because I
woman
didn't
to do
say
that.
one
Just
word
like
that
you
you
can't
wanted me to
categorize
say.
every man to do something wrong. You
Right,
cannot do
because
that. You can't.
you feel some type of way about that.
none of us speaking about any experience or any opinion can ever categorize it as all, ever, period. It's never gonna be.
Right.
Elisha,
It's a generalized
you're right
statement.
in saying that it is some, it's not all. But again, Maie-Jean has her opinion, and we all have our own opinion. And I
I
want to
agree.
know, Miss Elisha, what is it that you believe us women do sometimes that confuse or bother men?
I think our emotions bothers men. I think it confuses them because one minute you could be nice, and then one minute we could be a firecracker over
Yeah,
one little thing that be triggered or said on, nicely or whatever. And I think that our emotions subconsciously, because we really, I don't think we do it on purpose. We don't do. I don't think some women do not do it on purpose. Some women do things on purpose for men to know that. So that's just my opinion.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. I think emotions is difficult for some men to deal with our emotions because they're not always emotional creatures, and they're not always emotionally intelligent. We are a bit more emotionally intelligent just by nature, and I think men have to kind of grow into it. um and again, they usually do that on their own time and their own terms, as we all do. I believe I'm gonna say all in that case. We all kind of grow on our own time and our own terms. Life help us sometimes. Life stall us sometimes. Um, but I think that, in my opinion, one thing that we may do, I think it's gonna have to be not always say what we want in the moment. We will either not say what we want, or we will deny what we want in that moment because we're being emotional. How many times somebody try to do something sweet and you be like, get away from me, get the fuck away from me. How many times they be asking if we want something and be like, nope, I'm good, knowing
That
damn
is
well
so
you want
many.
it, no damn well you want it, stop. So I
Yes,
think
I
that's
want
one
that
thing.
double scoop of ice cream. Yes, I want that smoothie.
Right, yes, I want that last bite of your cake, give me that shit.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Hand it over.
Absolutely. Too funny. But I think all of this is absolutely necessary for growth. Like, it's all part of the authenticity. It's all part of the connection. It's all part of, getting past obstacles and bullshit that everyday life throws at us. Like, there's back to these filters. We not always being real with our partner. We not always being real with the person that's supposed to have our back at any given time, at every single moment. And I don't want to go too deep into like the male relationship thing just based off our randoms question, but it also leads back to our topic with the filtered. And I think a lot of it is, we all struggle with a certain degree of self doubt. No matter how confident you are, no matter how capable you are, no matter how smart, strong, whatever you are, successful, whatever, we all gotta overcome a certain degree of self doubt. And it's so important for us to be able to be real with those we love so that we can have those true connections. They don't come by every day. And in today's world, we know that those types of connections are far and few between. So being our best selves is gonna help us have better relationships. Period. Um, I got a couple questions over here. Miss Keya. Actually, nope, it was Miss Elisha first. Miss Elisha, how do you navigate your feelings and still find moments of brightness in your life?
No matter that I deal with my day to day life and different things that I go through as far as depression,
Mm.
and trying to heal from all the things that I've go through. Um, I have to talk to myself and uplift myself every day. I have to really talk myself out of bed. So that's really how I brighten up my day. And I play soca music. So when I get in my car or I get up in the morning, I play some soca. It's a type of genre from my country, and it uplifts me because we sing about happiness, we sing about joy, we sing about being energetic and positive. So that really helps me a whole lot every morning, and talking to myself is what really does. And the first thing I open my eyes, I really do thank God when I look in the bed, wake up in the bed, and I just try to make sure and say thank you, and gotta be like, gotta get up and gotta go. So that's how I really deal with it. Other than that, that's all I could do.
That's right. That's right. Find a way. That's right. All right. Miss Maie-Jean, in what ways do you believe that ruthlessness can be a positive trait when it comes to embracing imperfections in ourselves and others?
Because people can only hurt your feelings if what they're saying makes you feel some type of way, right? So when someone's trying to argue with you or hurt your feelings or say things or whatever, that they try to pick on things that they know you feel insecure about to begin with. So if they know you think you're fat, they're going to tell you you're fat. If they think your nose is big, they're going to tell you your nose is big. Whatever their perceived insecurities in yourself are, that is what they're going to focus on. And that's why you feel some type of way, because deep down inside, they are validating some kind of insecurity you have. So you take that personally, and that's why you get upset. If you don't give a flying fuck, nothing you say can hurt me. I don't care what name you call me. I don't care if you tell me I'm ugly. I don't care if you tell me I'm fat. I don't care if you tell me you don't like my personality. None of that matters to me, because at the end of the day, like, who is you? Right? Like, why are we addressing our self-worth based on someone else's perception 89% of the time, who doesn't even know us?
True.
Because they are validating our own insecurities. Right. Well, the answer becomes, because they are validating our insecurities. So, when you feel that way, when someone says something to you, you have to address what it is they're saying. So, if someone says you're fat, well, do I think I'm fat? And if the answer is yes, then you can address that. That's something that's addressable.
Yeah.
If someone says they think I'm a bitch, I have to decide if I care or not. Personally, I don't care. But if you care, then you change your persona, right? Maybe you are a little softer when you speak to people, or maybe you think more about what you're going to say, or whatever the case may be. Um, if you don't like the fact that you wear glasses and they call you four eyes, you get contacts. But the problem is, we're so locked into our own emotional stability and insecurities that instead of looking for the solution, we just focus on the validation of the negative. And that is where the ruthlessness comes into play, because if you can remove that from yourself and actually embrace your own ego at that point, and be able to say either, you know what, like I tell men all the time, my favorite thing in the world is when our men are like, oh, you're not as beautiful as you think you are. Here's the thing: I don't think I'm beautiful. I just don't care if you think I'm beautiful. And that's where men have a problem. Like I tell men all the time, you like blondes. I'm not a blonde. You could like girls with small breasts. I don't have small breasts. You could like tall women. I'm not tall. Who am I to care enough about you to want to make you like me? Like, make it make fucking sense. I just don't get it. And this is where we abuse ourselves as people. And that comes from trauma, because we are internalizing all of those negative things that we've embraced throughout our lives, and now feel, you know, is being validated by whatever this external situation is. And instead of being able to look at it and say, I have control at this point in my life. I'm an adult. I can do whatever I want to do. Like, I don't know if I told you guys, but recently I stopped eating all sugar and I stopped drinking coffee because I decided to. And I didn't like different things, and so I did it. I have control over that. You don't like your
Absolutely.
hair? Change your hair. You don't like your teeth? Get some braces. There are things you can do to help yourself to be more confident. But at the end of the day, you cannot let external perception tamper with your internal perception, or you're never going to be
Absolutely.
happy.
Absolutely. I agree with that. I totally agree with that. Um, it goes with the self acceptance, getting rid of the self doubt, being real, being vulnerable. It's all part of being able to build your best self and chip away
You have
at
to
all.
love,
What was that?
I said you have to love yourself. No one
Absolutely.
else can love you if you don't love yourself. It
Absolutely.
doesn't matter.
Speaking of loving ourselves, let's go to our PMS check-ins. So we
Pat charger.
all right. Miss Keya, I want to hear from you first, baby girl. Let me get your physical, mental, and spiritual baseline at the moment. Here.
Here go them faces again, y'all. I'm sorry. Um,
Don't be sorry.
physical, physical, I'm here. I'm just here. Um, mentally flabbergasted, and spiritually in search of.
Mm, okay. Seeking ye shall find, my love. You got that. You got that.
That's the problem. I keep on seeking. I don't need to no more.
All right. Let's see. Let's see. Miss Elisha, let me get your PMS check in.
My physical, I'm all right. My mental, mixed feelings. And my
Okay.
spiritual, actually, my spiritual is okay.
Good, good. And Miss Maie-Jean,
I actually had a good day today. It was my best friend's birthday, so I feel good.
physically,
And
mentally.
mentally, I'm clear. Mentally, I'm clear. Physically, I feel good. Spiritually, I'm always happy. So
That's a beautiful thing. Me myself, I am physically exhausted. Exhausted. Body is overworked and hurting. Mentally, I am not as tired, so I'm gonna say tired and not exhausted. um, and spiritually, I'm solid, definitely solid. It's it's been a day full of prayer just because my physical and my mental so tired. So doing all this to try and keep my emotions in check. I don't know if y'all been following our check-ins, but I implore all of y'all to try it, men and women. It's not PMS, ain't got nothing to do with our cycles. It's got to do with our life and our self-awareness and trying to just help ourselves manage all of that. So I definitely implore men to join in and just check in with yourself, even if it's only once in a while. How you feeling physically? How you feeling mentally? How you feeling spiritually? And if you feel like one of those things ain't where you want it and you're able to change it, do that. I don't see nothing wrong with that. Ladies, so if there is
I might be.
anything that anybody what? Let me be sure if
That was
it-
from where he was talking about where Maie-Jean was talking about the incidents and some other thing she was
And that's
saying.
like I said, how many men will do it even when whatever? I've had men take condoms off during sex. So again, sir, I appreciate the sentiment, but you are not like Miss Alicia said, you are not speaking for all men at this point. So we are going to say some men and we're going to call it a day because what I'm saying is 100% valid as far as the whole men coming in your vagina thing. So I want to talk about that.
Okay, I mean, I don't even honestly remember the exact moment that the pregnancy came into it, but
That was when she that was when she was talking about the
That's apparently what he
way
was fixated on. So
segments. Yeah, that was
he's brought
way
it up like
segment ago.
15 times. So he's super fixated on that. So I just think it's kind of funny because, like I said, even in my own personal experiences, I've had men do the most in regards to that, and then want to act surprised when you get pregnant and blame you and be like, "Oh, you got yourself pregnant." Yeah, you're right. Like I said, I sat there and I was like, and I manifested the pregnancy upon myself. No sperm involved. We understand, sir. Anyway,
Well, I just want y'all to know he didn't just write that. Like he been wrote that in the middle of y'all having y'all, y'all back and forth
he's been
moment.
writing it the whole time. I get it.
love that.
I understand.
Love that.
We impregnate ourselves by
So
sheer will of
what
the
was your question,
gods.
Jinx?
No, 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 no. I I'm reading some of the comments, and I'm just looking like, okay, okay. Um, I wanted to know if anybody wanted to sound off about something, but we got an audience member sounding off because he talking about letting anybody. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. I mean, I get what he's saying
I
though.
was.
Like
That's what I
you,
was telling y'all. He said that way at
unprotected
the
sex, yeah,
beginning.
unprotected sex gonna get you pregnant. That's on both parties, absolutely.
And Mr.
Right, but he said, "Why
and
would you allow
and
yourself
they
to get
just posting
pregnant?"
it.
Which implies that we can manifest it into ourselves regardless of the
No,
situation,
he meant
which I think
allowing
is
it,
fantastic.
meaning
Us
that
women do have that much power.
there are precautions to take to not become pregnant.
Okay, and if the man does not engage in those practices,
Then it's our
it's both parties'
responsibility
fault.
as a woman.
That's why it's called Plan B.
Okay, and like I said, I've been in situations where men have taken off the condom halfway through sex, and you don't. If it's certain situations, you don't know till it's too late.
Mm,
So again, some situations,
No,
yes,
you
but
gonna
other
know if he
situations,
coming you. He
no.
coming in you.
yeah, you gonna know.
Well, once he comes in you, but
You're
until then, how
gonna
do you
know.
know?
You're
Then you
gonna know.
will
Right?
Come on,
You're
Maie-Jean. You're
drunk.
gonna
He
know
took
when
the
a
plan
man
baby
is
B,
high.
coming. Come
plan
on.
He
B,
takes it off. You don't
plan
know.
B,
You
plan
don't
B.
know.
If you know
You
he
don't
get
know.
that condom
You
off
might
and he did something,
assume.
you better go get a Plan B the next day. You shouldn't be waiting around.
Absolutely.
Oh my God, Dan, you
Well,
get
okay,
pregnant.
but
Then I
that's not.
understand that. I
It
understand,
I'm
but
not
doesn't
you
mean
already
that
waiting.
if the
I'm
there.
not
female's
I
waiting
not
found
four
off.
to
fucking,
six
that's not
weeks
a
to see if
female's
I got
fault.
pregnant.
Okay, but why are we dismissing what the man is doing?
What was that?
If the man is ejaculating in you, it's both parties' faults. Bottom line, end of story. And especially if you think that something else is going on, then it becomes all his. So for him to act shocked and confused when you become pregnant is my point. I'm not saying it's any more the male or the female's part or responsibility,
Thanks for
but
clearing that
I'm
up.
saying if you shoot up the club and then I come back to you 6 weeks later with the pregnancy test, for you to look at me like I'm crazy is clown shoes. Like you're crazy pants at that point. Like you should have already projected this outcome to some degree. And it's not me manifesting pregnancy on myself to trap you. It's just that you nutted in me at the right moment. Like I don't know for them to make it seem like we plan this stuff is so ludicrous to me. I just can't. I
But
can't wrap my
but
head around it.
but I don't think he. But I think when he made that comment was way before at the beginning of the show, and I think what he's trying to say is we are responsible too. You know that, Maie-Jean. It's not just him.
It's our bodies. At the end of the
I
day,
said
we've
that
got to
15
take every
different
Okay,
times.
possible precaution as
okay,
well.
okay.
Listen, most women don't, especially with no self esteem. So if I'm a female with no self esteem and this man is telling me he does not want to use condoms and whatever, whatever, most women will let men do it just to do it because they feel like they love them and they want to keep them. And all women know, but I know plenty of women, and again with losers and all, men with no jobs, men who just got out of jail that don't have any jobs, men with 19 children that don't have jobs. So again, you're romanticizing your relationship with them. And it goes all the way back to what I first said. You can't pick someone who doesn't meet any expectation and then get mad when they don't meet your expectations.
But
So
okay.
that's it.
And
Okay, so
yeah,
can I sound off real quick on a positive note?
absolutely.
All right, so I started a billing and coding class, and I'm in the third week of it, but I have an A in that class. So we gonna sound off at that one because I just started one.
Yes, girl.
I'm
Yes.
proud of you. I'm proud of you, girlfriend.
Absolutely. That's beautiful. That's major. And you should be very proud of that. And keep going. Keep going. Keep getting them good grades. Keep staying dedicated to your studies and what it is you're trying to do in life. I think that applies to all of us in any aspect of it. Do your research, study, do your best, pray on the rest. That's really all there is to it. I think we are almost out of time, y'all. So I want to thank you all for enjoying the show with me this evening. Next week's show, we've got some really good tips and hints and beauty tricks, and we want to talk about breaking the beauty standards and redefining our self-worth, because clearly self-esteem and self-worth is an ongoing issue for both men and women in this world, and I want to touch on that. So please join us next week. We will be here every single Tuesday, 9:30 p.m. I appreciate you all, and I hope everybody has a lovely evening.